a wide majorities of the most of the advanced economies that are surveyed by a estimated reputed research center have said that having people of many different background that improve their lifestyle, their society, and outside of Japan and Greece, around 6 in 10 or more hold this view in many places, including Singapore, New Zealand, and US, along with Canada, UK, Australia, and Taiwan. At least 8 in 10 that describe that they are lived as benefiting from the people of different ethnic groups, different cultural diversity, different demographic classifications, religious and the races with many types of classes. Even in Japan and Greece, the increasing share that see those diversity, it is very positively, and the share of those to think diversity that makes their country very better way that has increased by those double digit since the question has arisen couple of years ago, and the significant increases have also taken place in most other nations where these trends are seen and available for a long time. This diversity in ethnic groups, religions, with the people of their cultures, and they are keen to survive with those advanced economies, and they are surveyed that the many different background that improved their daily lifestyle and the cultural society. Greece, Japan, Netherlands, UK, Spain, Germany, South Korea, Australia, Sweden, and many other important countries also have this recognition that the society may not be living up to these ideals. And in fact, the most people say it that this racial or ethnic discrimination is a problem of the society. Half or more in those almost every place have surveyed how describe those discrimination and as least somewhat is a cause of concern as make those a serious problems. It is a matter of steps to require to resolve this issue as soon as possible unless and until this become a hazardous for the humanity. The cultural diversity and the simplicity of the people and the lifestyle to maintaining despite the societal changes and upgradation of the lifestyle around it's a half or more in almost every places that survey has described, and it's including around three quarters or more who have his view in this Italy, France, Sweden, US, and Germany, and its eight surveyed publicly. At least the only statistical significant that raised the changes in a report for the global attitude survey, and this diversity and the division in these advanced economies that it's at least their society one with conflict between those people of different racial or ethnic groups, and the US in the country has the largest share of those public saying there is a racial and ethnic conflict. The perception of this conflict between the groups much higher in the South Korea and US, especially between those who are support different political parties, and people who support those political parties in US, South Korea, Taiwan is very high compared to France, Italy, and Spain. Next slab is going to be Germany, UK, and Greece, then Belgium, Canada, and Australia, and then the next slab of this estimated surveys stand for Japan, Netherlands, and New Zealand. and finally Sweden and Singapore. These are the overall structure of the statistics that the people who support those political parties. Next, with the people with different ethnic or racial backgrounds, is also higher for the US, South Korea, and Taiwan. And France, Italy, and Spain is slightly a little bit lower in cases than Germany, UK, and Greece, and Belgium, Canada, Australia. Then after, and the people also have practiced those different religious issues, and people who lived in the cities and people who lived in rural areas. Those are the notable, and in most societal and racial and ethnic division that are not seen as the most salient cleavages, and is the majority of those placed. Most people are identify those conflict between the people who support a different political parties and the conflict between people with different ethnic or racial background, and the US along with the South Korea. 90% say that there is at least strong conflict between these two, support different parties, including around half or more in each country, who say this conflict are very strong. And in some places, this acrimony has risen to the level that people think that the fellow those citizens no longer disagree simply over those policies, but also over those basic facts. In France, US, Italy, Spain, and Belgium, half of those more think that the most people in the country are basically disagrees on the basic fact more than they agree. And across most society has been surveyed that those who see those conflict between those and likely to say people disagree on the basic fact than those who do not see such conflict. The division between the racial and ethnic groups are as well as between the fact of those types of conflict and that are more commonly perceived. For example, in no places survey does a majority that think there are strong conflict between the people who lived in cities and people who lived in rural areas. Only a minorities in most countries say there are division between the people who practice the different religions. Though around half or more do sense such conflict in some major countries like South Korea, France, and US. Beyond those division between those specific groups, there is a widespread of growing sense that the society is more divided now on the views of the pandemic happen, and these views that affect on unity factor into a political conflict also, that a very strong conflict between people who support different political parties and also think that the coronavirus outbreak has made a more united and more divided classification for the differences for the many important countries around the world like Spain, New Zealand, Netherlands, Sweden, Belgium, Greece, Australia, Canada, Germany, Singapore, US, Taiwan, France, Italy, UK, and South Korea. These are the separation is created for the survey has report that the more united people and more divided people that has caused due to the pandemic outbreak in the recent times, and the median is said the 61% across the 17 advanced economy as mentioned just earlier that say that now more divided than before the outbreak has occurred, and in all but one of the 13 countries also polled in the summer situation in 2020, the sense that the society are more divided than united has risen significantly since the last year. Those who describe the society as before the global health emergency as also significantly more likely to see that the conflict between different groups in the society and to say their fellow citizens disagree over the basic fact. And the US, France, and South Korea, at least a majority that having people of many different background makes this country a better place to live. And still, these three countries stand out for the degree to which people perceive the variety of conflict in each of these places. The publicly are among the most likely to describe their society as divided. And this is the skills across each of the dimension are asked about the political, racial, ethnic, religious, and geographic conflict and diversification that perceive the strength of societal conflict that varies widely. That's all for now. Thanks for the time. See you in the next video.